mean, so this was obviously the first week past the convention, and we got a huge batch of polling, both nationally and from several battleground states. And we just didn't see a lot of movement. If we saw anything, it was a point or two for either candidate, but nobody really, pulled ahead from the convention. I mean, it hasn't really affected the overall state of the race. Nationally, Biden still has a huge lead. I think there was a Quinnipiac poll yesterday that had him up by 11. USA Today's Suffolk had him up by 7, which is slightly narrower than before, but that's not statistically insignificant. So we are seeing, some of these polls ranging from kind of high single digits to low double digits for Biden. And you should be very thrilled with that. However, national polls don't tell us that much about how the election is going to turn out. For that, we kind of need to look at battleground states and what the mood in battleground states is right now. And those actually narrowed a little bit. So this week we had a poll out of Pennsylvania, had Biden up by 4. That was a significant drop off from a previous poll from July. We got a new poll this morning from Monmouth in North Carolina. That puts Biden ahead by 2, margin of error of about 5 points. So that means they're statistically tied. We are seeing these battleground states tighten up significantly. And I don't think that's necessarily the product of the conventions. I was talking to Guy Cecil from Priorities USA yesterday, the Democratic PAC backing Biden. And what he said is this is structurally a close race. And what we're starting to see is, these battlegrounds are tightening. That's more the result of consolidating the base, consolidating party support, and just the fact that, as of today, we're 2 months away from Election Day. I think there has been a little bit of concern with strategists and consultants and pollsters that I talked to over the past several months that some of these leads that we were seeing for Biden in states like Florida and states like Georgia or North Carolina, there were polls showing him ahead by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points in some cases. And look, I mean, you talk to pollsters on both sides of the aisle here, and they'll say, no matter how you shake it, Florida is not going to be decided by 10 points. It's going to be decided by 1 or 2 or 3. In 2016, Donald Trump won by 100,000 votes, which is about 1% of the vote in Florida. In 2018, in the Senate race between Bill Nelson and Rick Scott, that race was decided by 10,000 votes. And this is a state with about 25 million residents. So it's massive. So I think what you're seeing is maybe a more realistic picture of what the election's actually going to look like. We're actually starting to survey likely voters now instead of registered voters, and that is going to tell us a lot more about the actual Election Day vote, and of course the early vote, the mail-in and absentee votes. But we're actually starting to get a clear picture of how this is shaking out. I think, look, this race is going to come down to 6 states. We have Florida, North Carolina, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. We're seeing the candidates actually go to some of these states a little bit more right now. Trump was in Wisconsin this week, in Kenosha. Biden's going to be there today. Biden has been in Pennsylvania since the start of the pandemic, probably more than any state other than Delaware, where he's living. Trump was in North Carolina as well. So we're seeing some more travel on that front, and we're seeing a lot of these outside groups, Priorities, America First policies, starting to play a little bit more there, starting to spend more, trying to hone in on their demographics and on their base. So again, Priorities USA, the Democratic Super PAC, earlier this month or so ago, I believe, stepped up their spending for outreach to voters of color who might still be on the fence about Biden. I think the other part of this too is there's a lot of work going on in these states on the structural level, trying to figure out how the vote's going to work, trying to expand mail-in voting, trying to reel in mail-in voting. I think Donald Trump's campaign just filed a lawsuit in Montana today. So that's a big thing that I think everyone's watching that in a normal year we might not do. So Priorities USA is stepping up their litigation budget to $34 million. And that's going to go toward voter protection. That's going to go toward, fighting whatever lawsuits they need to fight to get what they think is going to be a fair shake.